A warm welcome to you all for joining our today's session on SAP B2B integration modernization for efficient migration through payload-based and test-driven approaches. Firstly, I would like to introduce my colleague here, Arun Logeshwaran, who is a senior technology consultant in B2B Integration Modernization Services. And he is a B2B expert and a part of our SAP B2B Integration Factory team as well. Then coming to me, I'm Vishakha Deshmukh and I work as a technology consultant in SAP B2B Integration Modernization Services. Our SAP B2B Integration Factory team is basically a team of B2B experts who specializes in enabling the customers as well as the partners to migrate their B2B scenarios from any legacy system to SAP Integration Suite. Now, coming to our today's agenda, I would be first giving you a brief overview of SAP B2B capabilities within the SAP Integration Suite. And then I would be also explaining you the concept of paradigm shift. Later on, we would be moving to the most important topics of today's discussion, which is the payload-driven migration with a demo. So basically, payload-driven migration is just creation of the source MIG and the target MIG based on the source payload and the target payload. And then Arun would be taking you through test-driven migration approach, wherein he would be testing the MAG using the Int4 test bed. Finally, we would be moving to the question and answer section, wherein you can ask your questions to us. You can also write your questions to us in the chat, and we will make it sure to answer all your questions at the end of the session. So, to begin with, I would first like to give you a detailed overview of SAP B2B capabilities within the SAP Integration Suite. So as you can see here in the image, there are 4 capabilities. One, Integration Advisor, Trading Partner Management, SAP Cloud Integration, and B2B Monitoring. Now, Integration Advisor is a cloud-based tool wherein you can create mix and mags. Now, mix is message implementation guideline and mags is mapping guideline. So mix is basically creation of the structure of the interfaces, both on the sender side and the receiver side, which means that there would be 2 MIGs, source MIG and target MIG. And the MAG would be the mapping between this source MIG and the target MIG. As the process of creation of the MIG and MAG is a time-consuming process, our product development team have developed a tool which helps in automating the creation of the MIG, and this tool is called as the Speedboat. Also, our product development team is constantly working on improving the knowledge graph. So once the MIG is created and activated, MIG and MAG are created and activated. They are both contributed to the knowledge graph. And then this knowledge graph uses a crowd-based machine learning approach. And it proposes the best mapping proposal for each field, which you can directly use in your MAG. MIG and MAG are a part of runtime artifacts, which when activated are pushed to the partner directory on SAP Cloud Integration via the trading partner management. Now, trading partner management is another such capability wherein you can onboard your trading partners. You can create the sender identifier and receiver identifier to identify the sender and the receiver systems. And you can also create the sender and receiver communication channel. Trading partner agreement is a part of trading partner management, wherein you can configure the B2B scenarios for each trading partner. Here you can assign the sender and receiver communication channel which you have created in the trading partner management, and you can also assign the mix and max that you have created for each trading partner across each message types such as orders, invoice, etc. Now, once the trading partner agreement is activated, the trading partner configurations are pushed to the partner directory on SAP Cloud Integration. So this partner directory is a central repository which stores all the configurations. And here in this image, you can see this generic integration flow. So these integration flows are developed by our SAP B2B Integration Factory team, which on runtime execution dynamically reads the values or the configuration parameters from the partner directory, and thus they process the interchanges. Once the interchanges are processed, you can view the status of the interchanges in the B2B monitoring. So you can check whether the messages have reached successfully, or if they are in error, you can just jump to the message processing log to investigate on the errors further. So in this way, all the capabilities of the SAP B2B work in an efficient and seamless manner to migrate the B2B scenarios from any legacy system to SAP Cloud Integration. Now I would be quickly explaining you the concept of the paradigm shift. So what is paradigm shift? Paradigm shift is the move from the purely technical implementation to the business oriented implementation. As you know, 95% of the business to business requirements are mostly business oriented implementations. So we recommend our customers to use our simplified tools, which not only creates, manages, but also monitors the B2B scenarios. Unfortunately, nowadays in customer landscape, we can see many complicated message mappings or XSLT mappings or complicated integration flows, which are not only hard to understand for the for the business users, but also for the technical users, and they are also hard to maintain. So we recommend the use of our simplified tools, which would provide a clean design by adopting the paradigm shift, and it would be just business oriented approach with no coding, and it would be supported by the intelligent proposal service. Now, before getting into the payload driven migration approach, we will first try to understand the storyline for this order to cash process. So let's say there is this company X, and this company X is having two middlewares in their landscape. So one is non-SAP for legacy, and one is SAP PIPO for SAP centric integrations. And if this company X has to exchange the purchase order confirmation, delivery note, invoice, and with its suppliers and customers. Now, what are the big challenges that the company is facing? So they are doing manual data entry and interventions, which are leading to processing delays and errors. And also there is no real-time visibility. Also, due to the involvement of the two middlewares, there is increased operational cost and also increased complexity in managing and scaling the integrations. So they have come up with the idea of modernizing and automating their order to cash process by moving from their landscape to a unified cloud-based integration platform. And how they are going to achieve this is by migrating from their non-SAP middleware to SAP B2B Integration Suite. And they would be leveraging our B2B Integration Factory pre-built integration content, templates, and iFlows to speed up their development. These iFlows and templates, you can also find it freely available on the SAP Business Accelerator Hub. They would be also using our SAP Trading Partner Management to centrally manage the partner profiles, agreements, and onboarding. Once the migration is successful, they would be decommissioning their legacy middleware. Now let us understand this use case. Now, as a starting point, we would be migrating this trading partner trading demo. It is based in Germany, and it is sending, let's say, purchase orders in the format of UN EDIFACT orders D96A version. So in this case, company needs to provide two things from their legacy system: the payload pairs, source and target payloads, which would be used to create the source MIG and the target MIG, and then the mapping specifications, which would be used to map the source and the target MIG. Now the question is how to migrate the B2B legacy content into the SAP Integration Suite. So now we would be diving into this payload-driven approach. So for this, we need source payload and target payload. So source MIG would be created with the source payload and target MIG would be created with the target payload. Once the MIG is created, certain things you need to do, like you have to select the required nodes as per the payload. Whatever nodes are there in the payload, you have to select those nodes. And if there are any qualifiers that need to be set, you have to set those qualifiers. You have to do the refinement of the properties, give precise node names and definitions. You can use SAP AI for that purpose. And also, if there is a code list which is required, you can define the code list. Now, there are standard code list available, but there are some cases wherein the customer requires some specialized code values. So in that case, we can create custom code list also. And then if required, business rules can be also mentioned. Now, business rules are required for validating the incoming and outgoing data against the predefined rules. So let's say if there is a need to validate that a field is if the field is null or not, or if there is some numeric field, we have to check the format of that field or whether that field is in the given range, then you can write the business rules. Now, I would be taking you to the demo in our tenant, and I have also opened up the payload which we would be using to create the MIG. So this is our internal tenant. Once you go to the design section, under design, you can find MIG. You have to click on that MIG and then click on create. So here is the option of type system. So either you can select from standard type system, or if the standard type system is not available, then you can create the custom type system. Now, in our case, for our demo, we need UN EDIFACT type system. So I'm selecting that type system. Now here you can see the payload is containing orders as the message type. So I would be selecting orders message type. And then the version is D96A.
Hi, Vishaka. Sorry to interrupt. If possible, could you please maximize the screen?
Okay. Payload screen, are you able to see it now?
Yeah, it's
Is it too
showing
small?
both screen. One side's presentation, other side the integration suite. So if you can expand the only show the integration suite screen.
Okay. Uh, you want to see only this screen?
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks.
Okay. I just wanted to show like in the payload, there is UNA, UNB, and UNZ segment. Okay. So, which means that the MIG needs this structure. So, we will select this envelope for message structure. And here you can select the data format of the payload. So you can either upload EDI flat file format, or you can upload the payload in the XML format, or you can also, there is also a possibility to upload multiple payloads using zip format. For our demo purpose, I'm going to use this EDI flat file format. Now I'm taking this source payload and I'm checking this option, use file content as example values, which means that whatever example values are there in the payload, that would be replicated in the MIG once it is created. Now I am selecting next, and then here there is this option node selection. Here you can select the nodes which you want to qualify, which are having some qualifying value in the payload. But that step you can do also after creating the MIG. So I would be just going ahead and I will give some meaningful name over here to the MIG, which is saying about the message type and version and and the type system. And as purchase orders is an inbound transaction, I would be selecting the direction as in. Here you can give the define the business context like business process, product classification, industry classification, country, region. Now I'm just selecting country. Remember one thing, like the MIG needs to be more precise. The more the precise the MIG is, it is simple to create the MAG. So the MIG needs to be very, very precise with all the details. Once the MIG is created, you can see that each node is having the cardinality, primitive type, and length associated with it. Now, I would be showing you how to qualify the nodes in a MIG. So, in the payload, we have seen that I will just show the payload quickly. In the payload, you can see there is this DTM segment with two qualifiers, with qualifier 2 and with qualifier 137. And again, this DTM segment with two qualifier is having the other qualifier, which is 203, which is representing the date time format. So let me show you how to qualify. You have to click on this node. Sorry, it's loading. Okay. Let me refresh it. Yeah. Okay. So So when you right click this, there is an option as qualify node. So our first qualifier is with value 2. So I would be qualifying it with value 2. Then our next qualifier is, so there is, for this 2 qualifier, we have another qualifier which is for date time format. And here you can see there is no gray marker from this qualifier to the qualifying node. So we can add a qualifier here. Yeah, now this gray marker is showing that the 2379 is qualifying 2380. And then we can just qualify this node with the value which is 203. If you see the payload again, I will just show you quickly. So the 2 qualifier has 203 and then 137 qualifier has 102. 102. Now I'm going to select 203 and then create. So here you can see the date is this. Because of this qualifier, you are getting the date time period value as this is delivery date time. And then the next date time, you can qualify it with the value 137. You have to click on duplicate qualifier node. Yeah, and this is the document message time date with the qualifier 137. Again, now this 137 is having the value 102. So we can just delete this qualified node and we can add in over here the value. We can qualify the node with the value 102, which is there in the payload for 137. So in this way, the nodes are qualified. You have to set qualifier wherever it is required as per the payload. Also here you can see that there are some code list. So wherever there is code list, you can find the check mark. So code list means you will get all the code values here. And if the code values are not in the standard code list, then you can create a custom code list in here using the MIG code list. You can create here the custom code list and just add the values, the custom values as per the customer's requirement. So in this way, the MIG is created. Once the MIG is saved, you can export the MIG in the PDF or zip format. Yeah. So this is how the payload-driven migration works. And now I would be handing it over to Arun, and he would be telling us about the test-driven approach with the demo.
Thank you, Vishaka. I hope my screen is visible. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, perfect. Okay. So yeah, now I would like to explain you something about the test-driven approach. So in this method, we aim to generate the MAC by using available payload pairs from the legacy system. So that is the actual input and the output data. The goal here is not to replicate the legacy mapping, so like line by line, because we see that those old mappings may include deprecated code or unused logic or even bad practices that we don't very want to carry forward. So instead, we are focusing on verifying that the new mapping behaves correctly and correctly by comparing the output against the fallback solution. So what is required or how does it work? So we require a testbed. So for example, IT4 Sheet or FIGAF if you already have that solution in your landscape. But we from SAP are provider agnostic. So what exactly does it do? So the testbed compares the expected payload which is stored in INT4 as a test case, with the resulting payload generated by the configured MAC in the trading partner agreement. It then provides us a detailed comparison and highlighting us any mismatches. Based on that, the integration advisor content, like the MAC or even the MIC, will be manually adjusted and run until all test cases are passed. So what makes this approach so special? So it's technology agnostic. So whether you are coming from Seeburger, Lobster, PI, PO, or even if you come from a managed solution like OpenText, all you need are payload pairs. Just one hint to the payload pairs. So if you're coming using a WAN provider and he's doing also a mapping afterwards, then you need the payload of the what is actually sent to the trading partner. So now you might ask, okay, it's all about comparing. Why should I use a test bed? I can also test it maybe manually with an API tool like Postman or Insomnia. Well, the advantage of the testbed is also the quality assurance, meaning, so I usually use the example of a car factory. You know, you have multiple employees who are doing, building the stuff, the car, and at the end there's is the quality assurance and checks if everything is fine. And a similar setup can be done here also, where we have both developers and testers. So the tester just executes the test cases from the test bed and sees, okay, is everything green and fine? Okay, it can move to a quality system. But if there's an issue, then he can easily say to the developer, hey, my test case ID 815 for this trading partner is not working. Can you please check? And that developer can then also see easily, because the payloads, like the source and target payloads, are maintained in the INT4 suite or in the test bed, and he can work with it. Another major benefit is also the time saving. So we see that each test case is unique. So sometimes one test case has a special requirement or have some additional fields. So that's why we require multiple test cases per business transactions to ensure that the new MAC works correctly. So looking ahead, I would say with manual comparison, okay, with single tests, or let's say with 5 trading partner, this might be work with Insomnia or Postman. But if you're planning to migrate multiple trading partners, using a test bed comes essential. So what are the prerequisites? So first of all, you have to create a skeleton or a TPA. So a TPA is created based on an agreement template. So we have different agreement templates like for order to cash, purchase to pay, or 3PL integration. And the first thing is that you activate one of your agreement with the correct company profile and trading partner profile. And the business transactions should also follow the correct naming convention. Because with that, there's also the functionality that the folder structure in the testbed in INT4 can be generated automatically. Another point is the automation objects, which have to be created per type system and message type. So here you can also set validation rules. We will have a look on that later. And as a third point, you have to create the test cases in the correct test folder with uploading the reference payload. And of course, the connection between the test bed and the integration suite should be established. And for INT4, especially, there's a dispatcher flow, which needs to be also deployed. So here I've also demonstrated how it looks like. So we have here 2 components. So at one point, the INT4 hill, and then the cloud integration. So the tester or developer executes the test cases from the test bed, and it will be then passed to the integration suite. It checks the agreement if it finds something from the partner directory, it processes the mapping, everything, and then it makes the comparison between the reference and resulted target payload. So now you may ask, okay, how to start with the MAC content creation? Okay, I have the payloads, everything, but how should I start? So I usually do it like this. I have the source and target payload. I copy them then in my notepad, having them both side by side. Here you see on the left side the source payload, and on the right side the target payload. And based on that, I'm mapping the one-to-one elements as a first starting point, and then execute the uploaded test cases from my test bed. Then I will see in the test bed the result and see, okay, what is not correct, what is missing, and then I start an iterative approach to adjust the MIG and MEG until all test cases are passed. So I would say let's jump to the demo. I think that would be more interesting. So I'm now here in my IMT4 suite, going here now to the API tester cockpit. And you can create here a folder. Okay, it's also possible to create here a folder manually. And we say here, for example, if you have only one system, it's fine. Okay, you create your company system as the company name. So as for HANA, but some customers might have per region or country backend system. So then it's better to create maybe multiple systems, and then based on the scenario. So we have here order to cash for you in Edifact. And in our use case, we have here trading demo, and I will have here then my business transactions. So in this case, my trading demo just sends sales order to me. And here I have the possibility then to define my test cases. So there's one for inbound and outbound. So in the inbound, you set up now, as per our example, the Edifact orders. And in a second test case, you maintain the reference payload. So the target payload, so the IDOC. So let me jump inside here, inside. And you see here, I have set up my payload. And now let me execute it once. And you see the second one, so the target failed. So let's have a look inside, and you will see here the reference message and the current execution. And you see, for example, here now the doc num is red. Okay, this is let's say a frequent error because it will never match with the actual one. Then you see it's highlighted in yellow. These are warnings. You can set warnings. Then we have an error here about the time. Okay, so the customer is sending us the payload, the date in the date time format, and this needs to be somehow splitted between date and time. And also here we are seeing on line item level that there is expected a description in front, but my actual test case is just giving me the value from the input. So how to solve this issue? So basically you can already adjust the automation object. Let me jump here inside. Going to the edit mode. And you can see here payload validations. So here I can set up a new validation. So number, putting the X part. in setting up the. Okay, and I want it to be a warning. So then the next one, it will be highlighted as yellow. Then let's go to my Mac. Let me just quickly refresh it. So we see here, for example, it is about the DTM2 delivery requested. That's why it's always also important to qualify the segments, because that gives you then later on the meaning of the field. And here I have the requested delivery date, okay? And I just simply mapping now that to it was really slow today. Sorry for that. And I'm mapping it here. And here you have the possibility to do also, sorry. Okay. Here you see you have the possibility to define a XSLT code, maybe to make a substring or anything, but you have also the possibility to do a datetime switch, where I'm saying, okay, the target format should be then HHM, also hours and minutes, okay? So then the second point was about the line item, right? Where we saw that I need to maintain a description. So here we have the possibility to write a XSLT code. So I just put it here, but also a sneak teaser that also in the future there will be also Joule available that you can use for mapping creation. So it gives you proposals and writes you the XSLT code. I'm doing the validate to check if my code is fine. Clicking on save. I'm going to my agreement. And update. Okay. Now going back, and now let's say I want to test my second test case as well to see if there's any hidden, specialities, I would say. And you see now again the inbound works, and you see the first one worked fine. I hope this is the correct one. No, that is the second one. Am I wrong? Actually, this is empty. But you see now that this doc num is now marked as a warning, and you see that the issue with the date time is now solved here, and also the issue with this line item description. But we see that for example, with the second test case, that there's an additional name which needs to be passed. And this is how we do the test-driven approach, that we use multiple test cases and test it all until all test cases are passed. So we are talking here about 4 or 5 test cases per business transactions. Yeah, and this is all about the test-driven approach. Then go to because of the time being, I would like to skip the next steps part. I think Florian also mentioned already that we are doing upcoming expert sessions. There's probably one coming for our third approach for base overlay. The time is not set yet, but I think we will inform you here. So then I would say let's move to the Q&A because we still only have 10 minutes left.